Welcome everybody to a brand new episode of That's a Wrap. I'm Caboose.
I'm Ending the Answer.
And today what we got for you guys here is our official breakdown for the Avengers Endgame trailer. This is our countdown to Endgame, the latest episode. Before we get into everything though, we wanted to ask you guys, of course, if you could leave a like rating on the video as it shows your support, and we would really appreciate it. So if you could leave a like, that would be awesome. And then, of course, the giveaway's still going on.
Yes.
Leave us your topics. Leave us some comments, some things you want us to cover on this channel.
Yes.
And you could potentially win a prize at the end of the month.
Two prizes good to,
That's right.
Still ready to go, guys.
Yes, that's right. So keep leaving us your topics that you want us to cover for a future countdown to Endgame. But all right, the newest trailer for Avengers Endgame dropped out of nowhere.
When Caboose calls me at like 8:30 in the morning, I was a little alarmed. I thought something was wrong, but and then anyway.
And then there's Avengers trailer. That's right. So we're going to be breaking it down. There really isn't too much that they show here that we're able to break down in terms of things that you missed, but we also want to provide our opinions, our thoughts on the things that we've seen within this trailer.
And a key thing that you say there, Caboose, is that we really don't maybe have too much, and that's exactly what I wanted.
Beautiful.
And that is exactly what I want. So we're going to dissect what we can.
There is one thing, though, that they show in this trailer that I think is a bit of a spoiler, but it's something that we all saw coming anyways. Yes. I just felt that maybe them avoiding showing it would have been better, but the majority of this trailer, from what we can tell here, a lot of flashbacks, a lot of scenes where they're showing scenes from Iron Man 1 or Iron Man 3 or previous films that basically have led up to this point. And I love that.
Same here, because it's filling the gap of no more of the movie that I want to see. We got a trailer and a lot of it, and they're continuing with this motto of paying homage to these movies that have brought us to
the original Avengers.
The original Avengers, showing scenes of them and a lot of it, and bringing us to this point. And respectfully so, the Russos seem like they're just so about that in this movie.
They get it.
These, the OGs that have created this universe for us and brought us here, they really, really get it.
No, I totally agree. And a shout out to another content creator out there, Mr. Sunday Movies. I didn't tell you about this, but apparently he's got an inside source. And I've trusted him because most of the times that he reports this stuff, he gets it right. But an inside source told him that the Russo brothers only provided the marketing team 8 minutes of footage from Avengers Endgame. Wow. 8 hand-selected minutes that they said, this is all you can show in your trailers.
Well, you know what? I totally believe that. There hasn't been anything ever like this, Caboose. I mean, we thought Infinity War was there was going to be everything like this. There's been never anything like this. They are keeping this so tightly wrapped. They don't want to release anything at all for us to speculate. There is misdirects going on in this trailer.
For sure.
We've never seen anything like this. They want to keep this close to the chest to provide us as much surprise, as much astonishment as we can when this movie comes out.
With every single week that we talk about Avengers Endgame, the one thing that we have to reiterate over and over, expect the unexpected. These trailers give you the hype, but they might not be giving everything that you think you know about what the timeline or the storyline of the movie is. And I can
probably guaranteedly say, be prepared for 2 or 3 or 4 large twist that no one saw coming.
For sure.
Anybody never saw the Soul Stone. Nobody. Ever. So be prepared for it.
Absolutely. And then I guess when we sort of kind of get into the actual footage from the film, one of the first things that they show, and you can tell that this is from Endgame because there's no black and white with the red highlights, is we see Clint Barton, Hawkeye, training with his daughter. His daughter is actually training. Now, I believe I've seen a lot of talk on this online. I'm not super knowledgeable about it, so let us know more information in the comments if you have the answer. But from what I understand, this is kind of a reference to Kate Bishop. Now, in the comics, she is kind of like a Hawkeye. She learns, she trains, understands that moveset that Hawkeye has. And I guess they're setting that sort of character up. But in the play and the spin of the MCU, they're using Hawkeye's daughter to do that.
I actually think it's the opposite, Caboose. I think they're just showing a scene with his daughter to drive home the point that he lost his family here.
Maybe.
And from the previous movie, it was so important for him that, he had to go on, he had to take leave just to be with his family, protect his family. So they're just going to drive home the point that if he has gone crazy and killed like 5 or 6 Yakuza members, there's a reason why. This guy cared about his daughter and his wife.
And the trailer's cut really well to where it shows you a shot of him happy with his family, and then they juxtapose that to a shot of him
pissed
looking
and doing
devastated. It's the shot we saw from the original teaser trailer where he turns around, he's looking at Black Widow, and he just looks devastated.
The broken theme is consistent throughout these trailers. Thor is broken.
Yeah.
Tony is broken. Everyone's broken. Hawkeye's broken. And I just wanted to quickly touch on that all the flashbacks that we're seeing, they're really driving home this Tony and Pepper thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really driving. He hasn't let her down, but I don't think he's been able to give her what he's always wanted.
Yeah.
He always disappoints her because he goes to the route of saving the world. He feels this responsibility ever since, Stark Tech did what it did and he took it away. He feels this responsibility. They're driving that home, and I think it is going to come full circle at the end of this movie.
I agree with you. I think that is a really important thing. That's one of the more key relationships in the MCU, and that's like the only relationship that's kind of survived the history of the MCU.
Exactly.
So,
and it's changed my mind about the deaths that's going to happen in this movie, but we're going to be covering that next week, Caboose.
For sure. So that is really important. Another thing that's really important in this trailer, and has actually nothing to do with the new footage. During one of the flashbacks, we see, the scene from Captain America: Civil War when Peggy had passed away and they were carrying her in the casket and everything. And she has a quote, and it's coming from Captain America: Winter Soldier, where she's basically saying to Cap, sometimes the best thing that you could do is to start over. And it's weird because it's such a specific quote. They could have pulled a lot of different inspirational quotes that Peggy said to Cap, but they chose this one specifically.
Yes.
And I feel that there is a reason behind that. Sometimes the best thing to do is to start over.
Yes.
Could that be hinting at time travel? Could that be hinting at a reset of the timeline in general for the MCU?
Or just that everything's been decimated. The world kind of has to start all over now. It could be a number of things. And we know how important Peggy was to Cap, just like Pepper is to Tony. So I like these little things that they're doing.
Kind of going back, contradicting a little bit what I was saying about Pepper and Tony being the long-lasting relationship.
Yes.
No, Cap and Peggy.
Yeah, she just hasn't been around. Right. So the Tony and Pepper is longer lasting. But
Right, absolutely. But overall, a lot of old footage that they were showing off for a majority of this trailer. I love what they did too in the flashbacks, how they highlighted the red. That loss, it was such a shot. I would honestly love to see Infinity War re-released in black and white with the red highlights. I think that would be awesome.
It was pretty cool.
That would be great. And then
we're getting some top-notch stuff.
Another important thing to note here, as we first see, that shot or that line from Cap where he's explaining, some people have moved on, but not us. He's talking to Black Widow, and she has not only long hair, but she's got some red in her hair.
Yes.
And this is important because
it really is.
Everything we've seen.
There's a lot of talk around the hair right now.
Right.
A lot of talk around the hair.
And it's important. I know it sounds so random. Oh, her hair. But it's important because everything we've seen from Black Widow, she's had the shoulder-length blonde hair. And you don't grow hair like that in a week.
What do we always do when we try and watch these trailers? We're trying so hard to put the timeline.
Exactly.
We're sorry. We get a hint. Somebody had a beard. Somebody had long hair. Exactly. We're trying to put the timeline together. We're trying to figure it all out. Yeah. So, the hair has been important here.
It is very important because it gives us an idea that there might be a time jump. There might be a skip in a period of time for them just maybe doing nothing, maybe wallowing a little bit, getting a little bit sad, or just trying to figure out what plan they can get together to fix the world, avenge the world.
And from what I'm seeing here, it looks like they've been doing this for some time, trying to put this plan together. Because, when we catch to the next scene there, we see obviously Scott Lang is in present time.
Right.
It certainly looks like
and you can tell that he is because he's looking at this pole and it has a bunch of missing posters on it. So we initially kind of speculated maybe he's in the past, and that message that was shown in the Avengers Endgame teaser trailer was something that they just saw show up in the archives. But it looks like, no, he's in present day.
I still don't know why, Caboose. I think this is still some kind of misdirect. I just don't think he's here in the present day. I don't know why. Because the Scott Lang piece in the quantum travel, and we know the quantum realm, we know he's going to be important.
Yeah.
I think they're misdirecting us all over the place with Scott Lang.
I can see what you're saying. And then to follow that, we see a shot, and I think this is actually interesting here. So we see a shot of a Quinjet flying in over a city. And I believe this could be Japan. I'm not entirely sure. This could be basically when Black Widow goes to seek out Hawkeye or when he is Ronin. Mm-hmm. But what's important to note is the city life looks very alive here.
Yes.
All the lights are on.
So this city might have recovered.
It could have recovered, or this could be them traveling back in time.
Fair enough.
You never know. That's again what these misdirects are. I think it's important to note, depending on how long it's been since the snap, I don't think all the electricity is running perfectly in a city where most of the population of Earth has been decimated.
Right.
So I think that is very interesting to note where we see this shot of the Quinjet rolling into that town. And then we get another shot, Barton with Black Widow. She's got that red hair again, and they're kind of looking like they're getting ready. This seems like it's the same area from the teaser trailer when Cap has that little clip of Bucky and he's talking to Black Widow. It looks like they're all getting ready to formulate or to go forward with this plan that they have together. So I love that shot. And then going forward, we also see that Barton is running through some underground, and there's something going on there. We'll get a little more later into the trailer. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But another important thing that we see here, another important shot, if you want to break it down here, what we see.
Yeah, so, I mean, this almost looks like an Ironmonger suit from Rhodey. So he's beefed and bulked up here. So, I mean, it's obviously... whether Tony's in the sky or wherever he is, he just has Iron Man suits, I think, ready up the wazoo when needed. I truly think he does. Yeah. So this one was probably ready to go for it, an emergency situation, because it looks like a pretty beefy suit.
And then we also see Rocket there hanging off of War Machine's shoulder, and he's wearing that classic Guardians of the Galaxy suit from the comic books. Love that. The Russos really taking care and paying that fan service here. So that is fantastic. And that suit from War Machine looks massive.
Yes.
And there's really only one reason why he would want a giant bulky suit like that.
For a big battle.
So I think that's going to be some sort of big battle. There's a lot of smoke. There's a lot of ash behind them. And we'll get more into that.
There is a battle going on, as we can see there. And then we show, the greatest character of all time.
Yeah, Captain America.
What I've noticed from, kind of the first trailer that we saw, but in this trailer, he has meant nothing about business. And it's not just business. Yeah. He's just focused. Whatever plan he's putting the team together, they had an idea in his mind. He is so focused. You look at all this trailer, any scene you see with Cap, except for kind of the last one there when it looks like he's in battle, but he is just focused, man. He's got a plan.
Well, even in that last shot, he looks like he's ready to fight.
Ready to fight. But here he is planning something. He is focused. He knows what he has to do, and they're hoping they're going to get it done.
Yeah, that's right. So he's talking to Hawkeye here, and this is kind of when that whatever it takes line comes in. But it's important to note, too, and I paid attention to this because I was looking online, I was seeing a lot of people who are breaking it down out there as well. This shot of Cap talking to Hawkeye has a very similar setting or a very similar backdrop to the shot of the initial teaser trailer when he's crying.
Yes.
So there could be some sort of very emotional conversation here going down between Cap and Barton. A little bit of they're showing their vulnerable side to each other, maybe embracing, like finally realizing all that they've lost.
Or once again, it's the good old misdirect.
Yeah,
but we don't know.
Could be the misdirect.
We don't know.
But it's important to note, regardless, that the background here, from what we can tell based on this conversation, it looks like Cap is showing up
farmlandish.
He's showing up maybe to Hawkeye's farm. So that is interesting to note. This could be very shortly after Hawkeye loses his family in the decimation. But then as we continue on, like I said, there's a lot more shots of Hawkeye in that underground. And then there's also a shot here of Nebula in some rubble. She's ready to fight. I think this is the exact same area where we see Rhodey and Rocket earlier in the trailer. And this may be where the final battle is taking place.
I also had maybe an outside thought to Caboose. I wonder if it's the ending Infinity War and they're still on Titan here with Tony.
It could be.
Could be an outside, but... We'll
Titan was a little more orange looking.
It looked a little more orange looking,
This looks a little more industrial, a little more urban. This still could be an alien planet.
Right.
And I think if people have read the Infinity Gauntlet comic series, they might know where this location could potentially be. But overall, from what I can tell, based on this shot of Nebula that we get, and then the shot previously in the trailer that we get of Rhodey and Rocket, I think this is all this area where we see that final battle. And then we also see, again, Hawkeye's in that underground. I don't know what exactly the plan that's being executed there is, but they're running away from something, and they're obviously working towards something. Right. So I'm intrigued to see what that's supposed to be. Obviously, we have no information.
I wonder if wherever headquarters or something there is, if they do get kind of a small attack, maybe even after Thanos, who knows who else it could be, if they get attacked by something. Yeah. And then, I mean, this is the money shot, of course.
Of course.
There he is. He's ready.
Best part of the trailer.
He's in full-fledged battle here at Cap. There's no doubt about it. They're thick into it here. Obviously, we're not going to see who it is or what they're doing, but he is thick in the weeds. This
is probably where they're fighting Thanos, and it's really interesting that in all the marketing so far, they haven't shown Thanos at all. Yes. I don't know why that is.
A lot of theories going around there right now with that. I'm really wondering.
I don't know what it is that they're trying to hide.
And I hope they continue that. I hope they continue because Thanos was a very important character in Infinity War. It wasn't just a knockoff villain. He
No.
He had character. He talked. I'm liking the way they're doing Thanos.
Agreed.
I really want to see how that's going to go down.
And then again, from what we can tell behind Captain America, the backdrop there, this looks once again.
It does look like kind of the Nebula scene.
That same area where Nebula is, where Rhodey and Rocket are. So I'm guessing this could be the final battle, but based on what Kevin Feige said about how the marketing is going to give us, the first 20 or 15 minutes, this could be something that happens early on. This might be something.
And more and more, Caboose, we were talking about, obviously, we knew in any of these trailers we weren't going to see any of the dusted characters.
For sure.
They're just giving these tiny little clips because who knows, right over Cap's shoulder, there can be a dusted character.
Right.
They're doing it so perfectly, but then we're also thinking now, maybe it's for the fact that they're not there at all.
Yeah,
maybe this final battle, this whole lead up is to bring these guys back. Which, to tell you the truth, I would not mind.
No, I agree. I think Endgame is going to be all about the original Avengers.
Yeah, just like
Infinity War brought everyone together. It did the whole shebang. Every single character in the Marvel Universe up until that point was in that movie in some sort of way. Endgame, now that they've gotten Infinity War out of the way, it's time to focus on where this all began, and that's with the original Avengers.
Yes.
And then you have characters like Rocket, like Rhodey, that are along there as well.
Right.
So I appreciate that. And then the trailer sort of ends with this pretty crazy shot where we see the Avengers in these white and red suits, and based on the way that they look, and just the way that, every suit is pretty much the same except for Rhodey's because he's wearing a giant War Machine suit, they look like what Ant-Man's normal suit looks like.
Yeah.
So so what I think, and this is the obvious theory, so it could not be what it ends up being, but what I think is that they're going into the quantum realm with this.
Well, I hope so, because these better not be. The moment I saw the trailer, I called Caboose right away, and I said, these better not be no X-Men suits, those leather suits. This better not be a new, now there's the final battle, we got these nice hype suits. No. It better not be. If it's suits that's needed to go into the quantum realm, then so be it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty
sure. I
don't
even want to see them for the quantum realm and then take it off right away. We want original suits.
The suits I think the suits do look pretty cool, but I want them to wear the original suits. And I think from what we can tell earlier in the trailer, that shot with all the rubble and everything, that potentially could be the final battle, and they're wearing their normal suits.
Now, here's a really good question. So, where did they get the suits from? Who designed it? Who had it ready to go? Was it... Who knows?
Right. Well, we see Tony in that shot, so he could be the one who designs them. And then I'm assuming he works alongside Scott Lang, who has that understanding of the quantum realm.
Did Hank Pym maybe do it before and they're sitting lying somewhere?
Maybe.
I don't know.
But I don't know why Hank Pym would be creating Avengers suits. He wasn't a big fan of them.
Exactly.
From what we can
I don't know. But they're going to have to explain that. They're just going to get these traveling suits
from nowhere. It's not going to just show up. Yeah. For sure. For sure. There will be some sort of explanation.
There's only so many things Tony can make. But
one last thing that I wanted to mention, though, and because, they show Tony, everyone kind of thought that was a bit of a spoiler. Because even in the beginning of this trailer, they're setting up that Tony was still stranded in space.
Yes.
So why is that? Why would they still end up showing Tony on Earth with the Avengers at the end of the trailer?
That is my biggest pondering moment of this trailer. We know it's going to happen. Especially for the fact that he's going to get to a point where he's already there and he has to go to the quantum realm. Like, when is that going to happen? Again, putting the time frame together is always a difficult thing. But I was a little bit disappointed at that. We know it's going to happen. I didn't want to see it.
But let me pose you a question. Because it's such a weird way to spoil something, do you think that he is actually not there in the movie, but they CGI him in for the trailer to misdirect?
I wouldn't put it past him. And I really hope that's the case. But I don't know. That was very, very, when I called you, that's what I was saying. I was like, is Tony there? Did I see Tony there?
Yeah.
Why is he there?
It's so weird. It's such a weird thing to reveal. And it's like, why would you? You were leaving it so up in the air and leaving all that mystery of he could die, but now it's like, okay, he makes it to Earth. And honestly, we knew he was going to make it to Earth. But I guess the mystery still is the how. And again,
I just think from any of the trailers, we didn't want to see anywhere him near Cap. We just wanted to save that for the movie because we know it's going to be a monumental moment.
Right.
We'll have to find out in about 6 weeks.
And I guess it is worth noting because we see that same shot from the Super Bowl trailer, just not they did a lot of changing.
So we knew there was some CGI going on there, right? So
and because we see that shot, Cap has a shield and Tony is on Earth. I'm thinking Tony is going to be the one to give him a shield back, and we're going to have that great moment.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be pretty iconic.
We have discussed
It's
that.
going to be pretty iconic. And then the trailer officially ends. It has like a little post-credit moment in the trailer where we see the two most powerful characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Hold on a second. Yes, Thor and Black Widow's on the side, but yes, Thor and Captain Marvel, but Cap's not there. Okay, so just calm it down.
Relax.
Calm it down.
Relax.
Calm it down.
The two most powerful in the literal sense characters interacting. Sure. I thought that was great. Thor and Captain Marvel.
It was a nice little moment.
It was a really nice little moment. And I love the way that Brie Larson was very subtle with her acting in this moment. Yes. You know, that little smirk of like, hey, we're on the same side. I like that.
It looks like they've spent some time maybe together, or is that do you think that's the first time that they interact?
I think that's very early, and I think that is the first time that Thor interacts with Captain Marvel. That's kind of his test for her, trying to intimidate her with, calling over Stormbreaker, and her just not even flinching to it. But one important thing to note, one last thing to break down, they get a wide shot really quick, and you do see Black Widow is in the room.
The hair has come back again.
The hair has come back
again.
I
was really confused about this one. Yeah. We were talking about this for 20 minutes before we made this videos. So I just don't know. Like,
what's the timeline?
You can't go from long to short. You can't go from short to long. You can go from long to short hair a lot quicker.
Yeah. So what I think this is, it's probably just something early on in the movie, because we do know, and spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Captain Marvel yet.
Yes. Big spoiler alert.
Yes. We see, in the post-credit scene of that movie that she shows up when Cap still has a beard.
Yes.
So she shows up very early on in whatever the timeline of Avengers Endgame is. So this scene at the end of the trailer probably coming from the very first 10 or so minutes of the movie, and we can tell that by Black Widow having that short blonde hair there.
It looks like she, obviously from the spoiler alert, from her coming very quickly from the end of Captain Marvel, she's been there for some time. I think she is part of the planning process with them now.
Right,
so.
And because they know, or they potentially have found out how powerful she can be, it can be interesting to see what her role will be in the movie. One thing to point out, when we see that final shot of all the Avengers walking out with the Quantum Realm suits, Thor and Captain Marvel are not there.
And I wanted to hit on that big time, Caboose. Keep in mind, they're going to do this Quantum Realm. Everybody can't go to the Quantum Realm.
Right.
What if they don't come back?
You
gotta leave the two most...
The most powerful, say it.
You have to leave two powerful characters back. Well, a leader's got to lead into the Quantum Realm, but you got to leave some fight back, because you never know what could happen.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
that was a key point.
Maybe even they're not just staying back, but maybe they're fending off Thanos.
Who knows?
Maybe at this point Thanos is already on his way to attack the Avengers. They got to go into the Quantum Realm. They have to. Yes. And there's only two powerful Avengers who can hold them off for that time.
I got to tell you, I hope they do that. That would be pretty amazing.
That would be
just to
really
see
cool.
Captain Marvel and Thor going at
awesome.
Thanos. That would be pretty cool.
That would be awesome. And maybe the shot we see early in the trailer with Thor holding Stormbreaker and all the lightning around him, that could be coming from a battle with him and Captain Marvel fighting off Thanos.
Who knows?
But all right, that's our breakdown.
Woo!
A little bit of a long one. A lot of talking.
Yeah.
But man, this trailer, for as little as it shows, it's a lot to speculate about.
Let us know what you think of those thoughts. I cannot wait to see the comments.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if we missed something in this breakdown, let us know as well in the comments. And with that said, I'm Caboose.
I'm Into the Answer.
And once again, if you could leave a like rating on the video, it shows your support, and we would really appreciate it. And you can click on screen and make your way to one of the other videos on the channel, or you can click my logo to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and like us on Facebook. The links are in the description. Drop a like if you enjoyed, leave a comment if you have an opinion, and subscribe if you're new.
That's a wrap.